Live from Tampa, Florida, the 2012 Republican National Convention with Brian and Brian, sponsored by the Media Research Center. 105.9 FM and AM 630. WMAL.
Good morning, everybody. It's Brian Wilson, Brian Neiman in Tampa, Florida, where the temperature will get up into the 90s today and the humidity will be about the same.
It's amazing.
You hate the humidity here.
Well, I like heat. I mean, I like running in the heat. I like sweating, but you know, it's at what time was it last night? Like 10 o'clock at night. We were leaving here, and it's just uncomfortable. It's muggy. You can breathe. Yeah, it's so humid.
It's like you can cut the air.
It would be just nice at nighttime if it got down to like 70 or 75. That's all I'm asking for.
Well, anyway, that moaning and groaning aside, Jake Tapper with ABC News is standing by, senior White House correspondent. Okay, so Mitt Romney and Paul Ryan, when they leave here, are going to go to the battleground state of Virginia right away. First stop, they're going to go to Richmond. The president was there just yesterday. I guess we can conclude from all of that all sides are looking at Virginia as make or break.
Yeah, I was there in Charlottesville with the president yesterday. It was part of a three-stop tour of college towns. He did Ames, Iowa, Fort Collins, Colorado, and then Charlottesville, Virginia. Virginia is, one of the key states. And in fact, I mean, some people high up in the Obama campaign and the White House say if you want to know how the election's going to go, there are just three states to keep an eye on, and it's Virginia, Ohio, and Colorado. Those are the three states. Not that those are the only ones that matter, but those are the ones that might be determinative.
I've tried to go all morning long without talking about polls because I get off on looking at all the polls, but I noticed that the tracking polls all have it now Obama +1, which means that if there was to be a bump out of this convention, it hasn't yet started to emerge.
It's not over yet.
Well, I know that, but I said, you let me finish my sentence. It hasn't yet started to emerge.
Yeah, I mean, I think the way to look at the polls, given the expected bump for the Republican ticket this week, the expected bump for President Obama next week, is probably just to take a break from looking at polls for a couple weeks and then wait till everything dies down a little bit in 2 or 3 weeks. It's been a remarkably stable race. I mean, the polls have pretty much showed this to be a neck-and-neck race with a very small percentage of undecided voters and a small percentage of persuadable voters. I think it's possible that we'll see things start to change during the debates in October. But what's remarkable about this race is just how steady these poll numbers have been. I mean, President Obama, basically at 50% approval, under 50% when it comes to his handling of the economy. Mitt Romney, has strong disapproval ratings. The 51% is the last poll I saw. He needs to turn that around. He needs to change that. Those numbers started during the Republican primaries when he was the front runner, and everybody really went after him, all the Republicans, and then obviously the Democrats didn't exactly let up. So he needs to turn that around starting tonight, because right now, remember the Republicans, the Democrats rather, their goal was, knowing that President Obama was going to, have a tough time being reelected, they needed to do what George W. Bush did, which is make his opponent an unacceptable alternative so that people who did not necessarily approve of the job Obama was doing would still vote for him.
Right.
And so far they've succeeded in driving up Romney's unfavorables.
I was out with ABC's Jake Tapper, senior White House correspondent. You were in Charlottesville. I didn't hear the end of the story. Did they actually get on the campus? I know UVA didn't want the campaign to go there.
No, they did not get on campus. UVA had turned down the request, saying that it was the first day of classes for their students, and also they didn't. I think it just had to do with, they said, not having the money or the interest in having both sides come and disrupt student activities for a day. That was not the case at Iowa State University in Ames or Fort Collins in Colorado, and I'm sure.
Right.
I'm sure it was kind of an odd decision, I thought.
But do those requests are they normally granted?
Yeah, I think most of the time, at least as far as I know, most of the time universities are asked if a major presidential candidate, whether the
president of the United States,
comes, can they come to the campus? Usually they say yes. UVA said no, certainly within their rights. I think the president was not. I think that the arena that we were in was not that far from campus, and there certainly seemed to be a lot of students there. I think the crowd was roughly estimated to be about 7,000. So, it was an interesting decision. But as you know, if you've been following the University of Virginia,
yeah, they've been in the news a lot
board
lately.
of directors story, it's not even the biggest drama of UVA in the last couple of months. So.
No, not even by a long shot. All right, so you mentioned that there's a small number of persuadable voters out there. I keep coming back to this one thing, and that is, at the end of the day, the conventions are all about trying to persuade those who are still persuadable. How do you think they're doing in that regard?
Well, I mean, I think that's, first of all, one of the reasons that Chris Christie's speech was what it was not, a lot of people, I think, inside the arena in Tampa, and a lot of people loyal to Mitt Romney, didn't like Chris Christie's speech. They thought he didn't mention Romney nearly enough, that it was more about Chris Christie than it was about Mitt Romney. What Chris Christie was trying to do was make an appeal directly for those people who are undecided. Not Romney loyalists, but people who are undecided, and put the cast this choice in terms of leadership, and basically say, you like me, then you'll like Mitt Romney. If you like the persona I am, then you will also like Mitt Romney and the leadership he's going to provide.
You're absolutely right, and some people just didn't get that at all. Yeah,
it wasn't aimed at the Romney family, that speech. It was aimed at people who aren't quite sure how they feel about Mitt Romney. So I think Chris Christie's speech and Susana Martinez's speech, were the governor of New Mexico, were speeches that were aimed at undecided voters. And then there were a lot of other vote speeches that have been aimed more at Republicans and rallying Republicans. I think Paul Ryan's speech, obviously, last night did that. Condi Rice's speech did that. It's been an interesting convention for the likes of us to watch, I think.
All right. Do you miss not being here? Do you miss not being? At the
convention? When you get assigned a candidate, it was the same in 2008 when I was covering Obama. I didn't get to go to Minnesota. I do miss going to. I miss out, but I'll be in Charlotte, so I'll get to cover a convention.
Well, I'll be there, so hopefully I'll see you.
Okay, sounds good.
All right, Jake Tapper, ABC News senior White House correspondent. We always appreciate you coming on the show. So, listen, the likability thing is obviously huge for Mitt Romney. Can he do anything tonight that will make him more likable?
That's what it's all about. And remember, I keep harping on this, and I hope people don't get tired of me saying it, but it's you can lose sight in everything that goes on here about the importance of what these conventions are really about. Everybody in the hall's already on board, and the people who are already with Romney, they don't need any persuading. And the Obama people, by and large, if you're really for Obama, you're probably not even going to consider Romney. But there is a small slice of America still that has not been persuaded which way they're going to go, and that's what these conventions are about.